Hey, so most people think refinancing is simple and you get a lower rate, you get a lower payment, and you're done. But I'm going to show you that that thinking quietly costs homeowners thousands of dollars, because the biggest mistake in refinancing doesn't show up in the quote. It shows up years later with higher interest, lost equity, and decisions that didn't actually improve your financial situation. So here are the most common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Number one is chasing the lowest interest rate. A lower rate doesn't always mean a better deal. In many cases, you're paying significant more in upfront cost. It can take years to break even. Let me show you an example. Got this gal, she showed up. She was being quoted different rates in the 5% range. Look at this, at 5.75 versus 5.99, the difference is $2,000 in cost, but it's only going to save $29.80, which means it's going to take 6 years for this loan to break even. That isn't a good deal. Pitfall number two is ignoring the break even. Most lenders don't even calculate a true break even. It's not a rough estimate. It's an exact timeline of when and how the refinance is actually going to benefit you. Now, without that, without the use of something like BorrowGenius, you're making a decision without knowing when or if you come out ahead. Check this out. So on this one, actually, we're going to look at this guy right here. So she chose wisely and said, you know what? I don't want to wait 6 years before I recoup the costs. So she wanted to take a 5.99 with this lender. Here's the problem. It's going to cost $7,000. It's only going to save $130 a month, which means it's going to take 3.5 years before the new 5.99 interest rate is lower and cheaper in costs than the loan that she currently has. So that is not a good decision. Pitfall number three, incorrect payoff calculations, not understanding what exactly the loan amount is when you're going into a new refinance. So nobody actually explains this correctly. Your mortgage balance on your statement is not your payoff. Interest accrues every single day. So when you're going to restructure a loan, refinance, or do a rate reduction, you need to factor when that is actually going to be executed. So every single day, your loan balance is going up as another day of interest is being covered until you actually pay the loan off in full during that rate reduction or refinance. Knowing how to have that number correct up front helps you determine your exact break even and your costs. Number four, misunderstanding what the actual costs are. This is another big one. People see large numbers and assume it's expensive, but a big portion of it is the escrow. It's the money that you would have paid anyway. The true cost is often much smaller, but people don't factor that in, break it down correctly. It's important for you to understand that. And pitfall number five, focusing only on the payment, not on the total interest saved over the life of the loan. So let's go back to our scenario right here and take a look at it. The lower payment sounded great, but it can be misleading. You might lower your payment, but extend your loan term. That's going to increase the total interest over time, and it's not a win. It's just shifting the numbers around. Check this out. In this scenario, when you're looking at this, she's saving $130 a month, but it's going to cost her $7,000 to do so. So it's going to take 42 months to break even. The total lifetime interest savings of this loan is going to be $25,000. Now, there is a net change in bank balance because when she's looking at this, two things which I already mentioned. Number one is we calculated the payoff correctly, which the other guy just threw, well, I'm just going to add one mortgage payment to whatever your statements does and call it good enough. No, that's not good enough. We can be exact. Why don't we know how to do math? Secondly, closing costs, pretty big in order to dive that deep into getting that low of an interest rate, the $7,000. In addition, prepaid and escrows, collecting for the taxes again, collecting for the insurance again. Above and beyond all that, she's going to receive $500 at closing. Then she's going to get a refund of her current escrow balance, and she's not going to make a payment in the month of March when this one was taking place. So it's going to feel like about a $9,000 windfall, even though she's only getting $500 back at closing. So if we closed it in February, she didn't have a payment in March. Her new payment in April is $2,350. It's $130 less than what she was paying now. However, I strongly encouraged her not to move forward at this time. By the way, it's what I do for a living. You don't borrow money, I don't get paid. But my goal is to help homeowners retire younger with more money, and this isn't the way to do it. Chasing $130 a month in savings just at a $7,000 cost means you're bumping your loan amount from $257 up to $273 essentially, and it's a lot of money spinning backwards. You're also increasing the time of this loan from the 28 years remaining back to 30. So all of this really dives into the ability to save. My recommendation was for her to wait until the market improved a little bit more and we can cut down these closing costs in order to incur the same interest rate. Now, knowing this, it helps her to understand the gross large mistakes that people make when they're getting a loan. This was sold to her, by the way, by an incompetent lender who said, look, you're saving $130 a month and you multiply that by 360 payments, you're saving over $46,000 just by refinancing this loan. That is not true. We can see it because we've done the math. We know exactly what the current amount of interest is and exactly what the current amount of interest will be moving forward. So, for you, if you're ever interested in getting a refinance, demand a BorrowGenius report that can lay out all of the numbers to help you from making any mistakes. You can see the link in the presentation here. Upload a statement, let a professional get back in touch. Thank you much.